And what we have here behind me is Mound G, which was another burial mound, but you don't find the exquisite pottery in here. This mound was filled just with local style pottery from 3 different pottery traditions that date back for a long time period in this area. So we know that local Native Americans were being buried at this site, if not also living at this site. That then begs the question of, okay, so we have Native Americans, 3 different groups living here, and we also have this Maya influence. What's really going on here? So to me, what it reminds me of is a Spanish mission. But this would be the Mayan version, 1,500 years before the Spanish ever arrived in Florida. This would be the Mayan version of a mission. This is a Mayan mission. So what the Spanish did when they first arrived in Florida in the 1500s is they didn't come en masse and relocate to Florida. What they did was they built missions, and then they would bring in local Native American tribes to live in that mission, convert them to Christianity, and then they would then bring them into their trade networks. They would use them for labor. They helped, build the fort at St. Augustine with Native American labor. And the Native Americans would provide food, and they would provide raw resources from the area, medicinal plants, anything else that they could provide that could be incorporated into the Spanish trade network. This is exactly what this site here at Crystal River seems like, except a Mayan version of that. Just like at Spanish sites, you see Christian imagery. Here at Crystal River, you see Mayan religious imagery. And so it seems like this was a place where the Maya converted local Native Americans into their religious system, and then utilized them to provide raw materials for the mega cities that were developing back in the Maya world. At the time that the Crystal River site was rising, this was during what's called the pre-classic Maya site, and there were huge, millions of people, now it has been determined, was living in this area. And you had some of the biggest cities the Maya ever built were actually built during the pre-classic. El Mirador being a case in point, with one of the largest pyramids the Maya ever built. And then there was the pre-classic collapse. And this was around the same time period that people were arriving here, that Crystal River had a growth spurt. So either, so Crystal River probably began as just a place to supply raw materials to these mega cities in the Maya world. And it's just like we do today. The developing nations exploit the raw materials of the undeveloped nations. The first world countries exploit the third world countries, and I'm sure that's what was going on here. I'm sure they were taking slaves from here back to the Maya world. They were taking raw materials back to the Maya world, medicinal plants, different types of seashells, gold from the North Georgia mountains, the Palygorskite clay from Georgia that they used in the recipe for their very, very important Maya blue, that they painted religious sacrificial people and important murals with that Maya blue. And they haven't found the source of that Maya blue, all of it, in Mexico yet. So this was definitely, could have been a source for that. So they were definitely, it seems very, very consistent with what the Spanish would do 500 years later. So that's why I think, this was a Mayan mission site.